If I'm tearing him down, I'm tearing myself down.
Definitely.
Right? If I'm building him up, I'm building myself up. So it's important that we remember and realize that we're on the same team and our job is to build each other up.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes.
Knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us.
Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Welcome to A Better Us, and welcome to our home.
It was Dr. Les Parrott who said, being married is like living in a house of mirrors. Your life, your attitude, your words, they're all being reflected back to you everywhere you look.
Yes, we should constantly be getting and giving feedback with our spouse. But how do you give your spouse feedback in a way that you know they'll hear it?
In today's Loveology segment, marriage and parenting pastors Clayton and Ashlee Hurst give us loving, practical ways to do just that. And the women of A Better Us will be all over that topic in our Just Us Girls segment.
And coming to us from their boat, marriage experts Bill and Pam Farrel reveal husbands and wives' biggest needs and how they learned what they are the hard way from their own mistakes.
That's all coming up. So let's get started.
So this question has come in about offering feedback so that your spouse can actually hear it. Kind of endemic in the question is they don't want my feedback. So how do you get feedback through to your spouse when maybe it's not the double doors wide open for that?
Yeah, I think that's challenging because I know for when Ashley's come to me and wanted to give me some feedback, I sometimes would get offended at what she was saying. I didn't see that she was trying to help me or help us in our relationship. I would kind of let those barriers, those walls kind of creep up. And I had to guard my heart in that because I'd start getting offended. And we had to find a way to work through that.
Yeah, what's an example of that kind of feedback? What would that be? Like feedback about what?
Well, I'll give you. Oh, do you have? I'll give you a great example. There was one time when we first got married that I would give a look, and it was the same look that my dad used to give me, not knowing, and it was just that disgusted look, that angry look. And I remember one time Ashley told me that, and I got so offended, and I got so upset about it. Until one time she took a picture of me and she showed me, and that just helped me kind of bring my barriers down and realize that when she does something like that, she's just trying to help.
Yeah, but we've realized that you've got to look at some different things before you approach your spouse with that kind of information. You know, I've talked to him about, things with our kids and, maybe we shouldn't respond this way or that way. We've had to look at the right timing. We have to trust each other with the information. We've decided we trust each other. Whatever you say, I know it's for my benefit. It's not to harm me. Our tone is important on how we deliver the information. Early on, I wouldn't have the best tone, and tone is not just verbal, it's physical too. So we've had to look at trust, timing, tone,
Right location.
Yeah. We don't want to have this conversation in front of our kids or we've said in the middle of church, have this coming to Jesus moment. So location is important too. And we have to remember we're on the same team. Yeah. It's not about who's right, it's about what's right. Let's look at this. We're just trying to help each other. We're not fighting against each other. We're fighting for each other.
Well, this is so helpful because a lot of marriage is built on you're getting feedback whether you want it or not. It's like you're in a house of mirrors and everywhere you look, I didn't know that. Oh, I look like that, And so you're getting that feedback because you have this built-in person in your life that is there. And it's just human nature to offer that feedback. Yeah. So I really love this advice that you're giving. Give me some of those again. Tone and timing, that's an important thing. Not doing this at the wrong time in front of your friends at dinner or something like that. Time, tone, what else?
Location,
or we call it turf. You gotta have the right turf, the right location to present that information. I think that's critical.
And then trust. You got to trust each other. Yeah. You need to have a level of trust between each other, knowing that I love you. I'm just trying to help you.
Yeah.
And then teammates. You're on the same team.
Yeah. Wow. You guys spent some time thinking through the T's on that one. I like it.
Yeah.
So thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's just us girls time again, and as usual, I'm surrounded with the girls of A Better Us. I have Danielle and Diane and Kara, and we are all here again talking about what we need to be talking about, and that's communicating with our husbands in the best possible way, and how to give him feedback when we know we need to give him feedback. We know there's something that's happening. We need to talk about it. But how do we do it so that he actually receives it well?
Right.
It's important.
Yeah. Well, for me, when they mentioned tone, I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
That's where I always, I don't beat around the bush. I just get straight to the point.
Right.
And sometimes my tone comes off as if I'm trying to be mean, and I'm really not. I'm just trying to speak my truth and get it out and be done with it.
Right.
And my husband's like, you could say that a little nicer, or you need to watch your tone. And I'm like, but I just kind of, and I have to catch myself, right? Because I'm like, he's right. You know, I don't hear it when I'm saying it, but after he says it, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I do need to watch my tone with that, right?
Ron and I have that hand signal we've talked about before, where it's just kind of like, and sometimes I'll be talking and he'll just kind of he'll do this, and I'm saying, wait, what?
Sign language.
Is this a time for that right now? Because I know how we use this, and I don't think, but it could be that it's just my tone.
Yeah, my husband does that as well. Yeah, because he says, you know, just the delivery is everything.
Yes.
And I'm like, you're so right. That is so important. And the other thing that hit me was the fact that we're on the same team.
Yeah.
Like, we're on the same team. If I'm tearing him down, I'm tearing myself down. Right? If I'm building him up, I'm building myself up. So it's important that we remember and realize that we're on the same team, and our job is to build each other up.
That's good.
And that was the trust aspect. There was a whole bunch of T's they were talking about. And if we're beginning from a place where if I'm already speaking life and words of love, then there's a safe place, a safe you know, line of communication, then he's going to be more willing to receive it. And I was also thinking, man, it's all about just making sure that you pick and choose your battles. Because so my husband is going to hear me more loud and clear if I'm not always at him, if I'm, you know, really making sure that the feedback I give him is what I really want to give him so that he receives it. And I know, I tell you, there's so many times, so you know, my husband is a professional musician and he's often on stage, and then he'll come down and ask for feedback sometimes. And I'm going to harken back to another one of our episodes. We talked about our next day rule. Sometimes if something's gone wrong, that he doesn't realize, I will do my best. I don't want to ruin the moment, especially if he has to go back up on stage. I'm going to be careful to make sure I don't deflate him and give him feedback that would be negative and you know, put him in a bad headspace. So we have to be careful about the timing, which they talked about, another T. And so those are two things that I've thought about for sure.
And I thought about the timing and the turf. Like where and when, and in front of your friends and in front of your family probably is not the right where and when, especially because you're building that trust. And in a space of trust, you need sometimes privacy. And so you don't want to open the door to your friends or your family to be able to speak into something that might not be any of their business. But if you have those crucial conversations in front of people that you shouldn't be having, then you can be opening up doors for offense from your family to your spouse, or vice versa. You could be opening up a doorway for them to also comment into it, and you don't want to. Also in front of your children, I think you can create these narratives that you might not want it to create, and now you have to like backtrack to get things back on track. And so turf and time, I think, are definitely important in protecting your spouse and your marriage and your trust.
That's good.
And also just our state of being. Are we hangry? Are we really, you know, in a state? We do intermittent fasting at our house. So there's times in the morning that if my husband has not eaten yet, he's like, don't bring this stuff to me now. Or, you know, sometimes at night, if we're just trying to shut down and we don't need to deal with certain things,
I agree.
we need to pick and choose, you know, the state that we're in and make sure that we're in a place that our spouse can receive it well.
And even trying to identify what space he's in, what headspace he's in, because there'll be sometimes Ron's on his laptop because we work from home, we work together. He's sitting on his laptop working away, and I can start talking to him and tell him something, and he can nod his head. He'll even agree with me. Yeah, and he's not hearing a word I'm saying. Not a word. And so I've learned that I have to first of all, I can't get upset because I have to know that he's got a way of doing things. This is the way he does it. He's in a box. He's deep in that box, and I love him for it because he takes care of things in that box that I need him to take care of. But if I need to talk to him about something, I have to say, honey, can you tell me when it's a good time to talk to you because I want to mention something to you? And he'll know, and I'll just wait. Or I'll say, is now a good time because there's something I want to share with you. And so both of those, he knows that, okay, I got to come out of the box because there's something that she wants to talk to me about. And that's important. And also our tone. Like if it's something really serious that we know we need to talk to them about, and it's something that bugs us, and we've been waiting and we've got to talk about it. There's a verse in Proverbs that I just love, and I wrote it down in the Amplified Bible. It's a soft word turns away wrath. But in the Amplified Bible, a soft and gentle and thoughtful answer turns away wrath, but harsh and painful and careless words stir up anger. So we have a choice to make. Are we going to be thoughtful and gentle with our words? Or are we going to be careless and harsh? Because we are going to definitely get that response either way that goes with that. And so it's important to know where his headspace is and where our headspace is before we bring these things up.
I agree. Yeah, as you were saying that, I was thinking, I heard Dan in my mind of, you know, what would he say? And actually, I can think of times when I just come at him with a list of things that this, and it's like, whoa. So maybe like one thing at a time here, because I know I wouldn't want all that thrown at me at once too, but you know, so we just have to think about the volume that we are.
That's true.
We are giving them.
And remember, this issue, whatever it is that you want to talk about, is just that. It's an issue. It's not your us. It's something that you don't put between you and you got to talk about. It's something that you put on the table over there. Say, honey, can we talk about that because this is really important. We need to talk about that. So, you know, how you approach that too. It's not something that you're going to allow to come between you when you bring it up, but it's just always going to be separate from the two of you.
And you talked about the list. I know in one of our previous shows, it was Pam and her husband, Bill. They talked about the list and how men give them one thing at a time because they can't process. You can throw everything at me.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to departmentalize everything, got it. But my husband, if I give him more than one thing, forget it.
It's because he's stuck on that first item.
That's right.
We can. That's what my husband does. I can tell him all kinds of things, but his mind is back here solving this problem.
That's right.
He doesn't hear all the. He's nodding his head while I'm saying all the other stuff, but his mind
solve that.
Exactly.
And when you bring him something, make sure it's from you. And not that you've talked to your girlfriends about it and got all their opinions about it, and now you're bringing their opinions in like it was your opinion. And so when you address something, make sure your heart's right and that it's actually from you and not from like a third party.
That's good.
Really good. This is good stuff. This is really good. I think we need to do this again. Well, there is more of Better Us to come, so stay right where you are.
You get below this line of trust, suddenly everything's awkward and difficult, and you think, well, life's not supposed to be this hard. It's supposed to be easier. Like we're in love, and everybody knows when they're above the line of trust or they're below the line of trust. But what is it that keeps you as a couple above this line of trust?
For more marriage encouragement, follow A Better Us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
And subscribe for your free weekly Marriage Moment email at abetterus.tv.
Have you ever noticed in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 33, that there are different instructions to husbands and wives? It says each one of you must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. And if you're a thinking person, you're going to ask, why are there different instructions? Well, it's because in every marriage there is a line of trust. And when you're above this line of trust, marriage is easy. You give each other the benefit of the doubt. It's easy to communicate. Decision-making is easy.
Lots of red-hot monogamy.
But if you get below this line of trust, suddenly everything's awkward and difficult. And you think, well, life's not supposed to be this hard. It's supposed to be easy. Like we're in love. And everybody knows when they're above the line of trust or they're below the line of trust. But what is it that keeps you as a couple above this line of trust? Well, the reason why Ephesians 5 has different instructions is there's different primary needs in each of your lives. So men, the need that gives you access into your wife's heart, we like to put it in usernames and passwords. When you got married, you got your username, which is husband. The password that gives you access to her heart is security. And the simplest way to define security is your wife is asking you a question every day of your life. The question is it safe to be who I am today around you? Because her life's always changing. And so there's some days she's easy to get along with, some days she's really reasonable, some days she's frustrated and moody, some days all you want to do is give her flowers and chocolate. Because it's not really worthwhile to bring up anything more serious than that. And because it's changing every day, she wants to know, is it safe to be who you are today?
So husbands, meet the security need in her life first. Let's give you a little illustration from our honeymoon. We went out, lovely dinner last night of the honeymoon. We came home and did what honeymooners do, a little red-hot monogamy. It was lovely. So I just started sharing from my heart. I thought Bill wanted to know everything about me, including like every boyfriend I've ever had since kindergarten, right? And somewhere around grade 7, Bill fell asleep. And I started crying. And
Like so loud, she's shaking the bed. So I woke up. I said, Pam, what's wrong? I thought we had a great night. Why are you crying?
well, I was sharing you fell asleep. You don't love me.
No, I do love you, Pam. I think you're fascinating. That's why I married you. And I want to spend the rest of my life getting to know you.
And so I started sharing every country and western song I knew growing up. And then I ended about 2 a.m. with you standing on the bed with my hairbrush singing Stand By Your Man.
Now, I didn't realize at that point that what we were working on is security, but I've since learned she just needed to know it was safe to be who she is around me.
So what's the counterpart? If you want to meet this security need in your wife, then what gives us access to our husband's heart? Success gives us access. Men want to be successful as husbands, in the business community as dads. Mostly they want to succeed with you. And how does that look in a regular day? Okay, so we were back from that same honeymoon, and we were at a friend's birthday party, and we were dancing, and Bill's a great dancer, and so he did this lovely dip. And they dropped me on the ground. I'm like laying on the ground. I'm like, honey, why am I on the ground?
I said, I just ripped my pants.
I said, you guys, Bill just ripped his pants. And I thought it was funny. Our friends thought it was funny. Bill did not think it was funny.
It didn't make me look successful.
It did not make him look successful. I learned a hard lesson that day on the quiet ride home. You should not point out the flaws in your husband in public. It's not a really great idea in private. Instead, seek to meet his success need, and he's going to be easier to live with and easier to love.
Well, always good to hear from Bill and Pam Farrel. And a good topic there we want to discuss with our kitchen couples. And here they are. We've got Mike and Diane Clemens. We've got Eric and Kara Maines. Ann and Ron.
That's right.
I always forget to introduce us.
We're here too.
But yeah, security and success. These kind of the mega needs of his need and her need. I like the way they say it's like the username and password. You know, husband and wife are the usernames.
Yeah.
And the passwords, security for her is a password to her heart, and success, we often in our marriage teachings, we talk about these kind of needs, and we use kind of honor and respect, you know, with success, but it's kind of meaning
the same thing. Yeah.
And so those are kind of those mega needs that husbands and wives have that we need to understand and then make sure we're building into them.
And the thing is that those mega needs are are tied to all other needs in our lives. If I'm feeling secure in our relationship, then I have security in other areas of my life too, and I don't feel the stress of other things. And his mega need of success or honor and respect, if he's feeling that I'm giving him that respect that he needs, the most important person in his life is me, besides his relationship with the Lord. If he's feeling that, then he has that about him that he can do anything. He can conquer the world. He is successful. And so it's important to keep that. And I love how they did the line of trust, because that was a good visual. Because when you're operating above the line of trust, then life is a lot easier. But if you start to slip below that line, where you're not meeting that mega need of each other, and maybe one of you's down there or the other one's down there, then life really gets bumpy.
Not even just not meeting that need, even going against that.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking down to me like a parent to a child, or then that's kind of an assault on my mega need of that, I'm not feeling very successful at that moment, or feeling honored or respected. And vice versa, if I do something that you feel a lack of security in our relationship, then
It's so
we're below that
important.
line. But
It's so important. Do you guys find that too?
Yeah, you talk about that line, and sometimes I have to take note and make sure that I'm above that line, right? Because sometimes I can just go in and Mike will think, well, like, I'm not a kid.
Yeah.
Change the tone, don't talk to me in that tone, right? And I have to catch myself, right? Because I'm just trying to get my point across, and I want to get it across now.
I hear you.
But I have to,
Yes.
I have to remember, okay, Diane, stay above the line, right?
Yeah.
And when you think about the word secure, it's a word that is designed to provide maximum security from toxic spills, right? And sometimes that toxic can get into that marriage, right? So we have to make sure that we watch that. It is a word that is, it means it's freedom from fear, from anxiety, from feeling danger, from being, feeling self-doubt, right? So secure, it's a big word. It's
huge.
Right? And we have to make sure that we keep ourselves above the line so that we will always feel safe, centered, certain, and feel that peace and that tranquility in our marriage.
Well, I was the other guy because I was the one who sprayed things right across our marriage, right? So from the very first year, right, we evaluated our marriage from 1 to 10. So we talked about it, right? I gave her a separate bank account, right? That made sure if I went crazy one day, right, that she could have. So I did. Yes. So I did all of these little things to try to help make her feel more secure. And over time, I found that many of them weren't needed, right? So as the security grew, right, well, she didn't need that. And she took these things away on her own many times, right? Some of them are still there, like our marriage or our anniversary, we still talk and give ourselves a rating because you don't want to be mad that day, right? So you'll forgive yourselves easily. And we talk about the kids now and each kid as we go through. And so it is one of those things that has given us, given us balance. But the reality is I didn't know exactly, what the button was at first. And so I sprayed all of these things out there. Some of them stayed, some of them went, but I think it is being intentional about that process.
Well, that's what I was going to say. At least you were deliberate to meet that security need that you saw that she had. Yes, and then as Diane, as you said, I feel great. I feel fine. That's not necessary. I like that. That's good.
True.
Yeah.
Eric and I felt a little called out watching this.
We've had a few moments where we know we've been below the line and not meeting those needs.
And I think, so right now we'll be very honest with you guys. When it comes to our babies, I don't always have security in Eric. So I work at a church. And so Eric brings our kids to church on Sunday mornings. And
I get them ready for church. I put on the church clothes that I want them to wear. And this is where this comes in.
And so I just know that I'm going to be expecting a phone call, where are things, how to dress them, A, B, and C. And so that does not put any security in Eric, because I'm expecting this because
I tried it on my own.
Right?
First,
Great.
okay, first of all, the colors matched.
No, they didn't. Okay, so he brought Grace to church in a gray dress, which was a beautiful dress.
Great.
But then he brought her in Bradley's old gray pants with blue and white crosses on them with spaghetti stains on them. And I was like, where did she get that from? Oh, she was in the garbage and we had spaghetti in there. No. And I was like, so you didn't change
We were super late already, and I was just like, oh, the dress will cover it.
So you weren't feeling all that successful, in other words.
No, I hadn't even got in the
calling
doors.
out the lack of success.
She was like greeting with one of the other pastors at the door. She sees us coming from like inside, and she's just like, no. She's like, excuse me. Walks over and just like, we are changing this outfit right now. And she actually she has the gift. She like did a few things, did this here and there, like moved and then pulled the dress down, just like. This is what it should look like. And I'm just, but yeah, I didn't.
So
feel
because
very
of that, I didn't make Eric feel successful. And so it's like, I think what we are trying to figure out is when you get in the cycle of, I don't have security in him, so he's not feeling successful from me because I'm expecting it. And so when you're in this cycle of like, you're not feeling successful, I'm not feeling secure.
I'm not getting you secure that I can actually accomplish that task the way you'd like it to be done.
And how to take intentional steps out of that, because that really takes trust. I have to trust Eric that he will hopefully dress Grace well and then encourage him in it.
That's right.
Because we don't want to stay in this cycle. And like, it may not, for families at home, it may not be as easy as this. Maybe it has to do with money or relationships, or I think recognizing the cycle of it and then being intentional to step out.
Yeah, that's good. That was good.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, and you recognize that it's not for the long haul. It's just something you're working through right now.
Yeah, the bottom line is that you want your marriage to be a safe place for each other. And the question that they asked, which was the security need for the wife, is it safe to be myself, who I am around you today? And of course, you want that to be yes. So yeah, that's good.
Lots of good stuff. Yeah, thanks guys.
That's good. It was awesome.
Yeah, don't go away.
Stay with us. Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video. Well, thanks for joining us today. It's been a great program.
I think the girls had a lot of fun discovering ways to communicate better with you guys so that you're not only nodding your heads, but you're actually listening.
Guilty. I've done the wrong thing a lot. And the whole tone and timing and trust things, those are good for us to keep in mind too.
And I love how Bill and Pam Farrel share so candidly from their own lives how they've done the wrong thing, but then they've learned good lessons.
Her security and his success. Those are easy ways to remember what's really important to each of us.
But of course, what's most important is the security we have in a relationship with God through Jesus. Building our life on that foundation makes all of the difference in all of our relationships.
If this is something new to you, the phone number on the screen is there to help. That's our prayer line, and it's available 24 hours a day. We'd love to pray with you. And also check out the resources on our website at abetterus.tv.
Thanks again for stopping by. And remember, with God, there is always hope to become a better us.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
You can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy! Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.